Page 20, Sonatina in C major. Well, this is in C major. No sharps or flats except for the accidentals. Common time or 4/4 time. The eighth note's all over the place. I don't see anything hard about either hand I need to point out to speak of. Now for the right hand, again, I like to play it all legato. All right, now most part, this is just a C major scale. And that's a broken C chord. Now here, scrunch up fourth finger again. Then do that again. Go down to measure 9. Here, after the repeat sign there, it's a. And then scratch up thumb again. I don't like that. Okay, we can do that. And then scratch up. The fermata, I'll come back and talk about this fermata in a minute. And that A with the circle around it, yeah. Right now we leave all that out. I just want notes here. And you do all that again. And then at the bottom, the last line, you just got the chords. Okay. And the left hand, it's just broken chords mainly. And measure 4. Connect all that together. No big deal, I hope. Go down to the last line, measure 10. It's here. Your left hand, or the thumb, or the little finger comes down. You can use the little finger on both, or you can use fourth finger on the C, whichever. And then here on measure 12, I recommend fourth finger. Don't use fifth on those. The others on measure 10, you had a note in between them, so you could get away with using 5 on both if you want. I still recommend 4 though, but on measure 12 it needs to be fourth finger. And here. Put the hands together slowly. Did I mention slowly? Well, you're slowly up. This is my slowly. That's okay. It has to be slow enough that you can focus on fingering and so forth and get rid of the hesitations and so forth. So you get the hands working together. And then we can go back and add the articulation. Well, for the most part, you're going to slur these. You can lift up between them. Measure 4 in the right hand, those are staccato with a line over them. That makes it a long staccato or portato. It just separate. Well, you can do that anyway because it's a repeated note. Some people, because of the tenuto, they'll play it out a little bit. Don't necessarily. I mean, at the time this composer lived, the tenuto meant a slight stress on the note, but it's also a portato. You disconnect the notes. So forth. In the left hand, you can disconnect the notes when they're further than a second apart. If they're next to each other, like in the second measure, you connect those. Well, it says to, it's slurred. Otherwise, you can disconnect them. Like in the first measure, you can disconnect that if you want to. So, and then connect that. You're connecting this, but not that. So do that, and then when you get to measure 9, it says legato underneath the staff. That's telling you on this left hand, connect all these notes. Just play it all legato, but you got slurs in the right hand though. So you're lifting up the right hand, but not the left. Good luck with all that. When you see a fermata in a piece of music, typically, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, it's a hold, obviously. But it's also an indication where you can insert a cadenza if you want to. This is where, back in this time where people did a lot of improvising, a lot of making up stuff on their own, it was sort of expected to. For like piano concertos and all, they would write their own cadenzas. Nowadays, we got to have them written out for us, although some people still make up their own. But for that fermata, that is really an indication of, you can insert a cadenza in here, a flourish, whatever. It doesn't make any difference how long it is. Don't make it longer than the piece itself. But where you can just show off a little bit. well, you're playing in C major and you got a lot of C major, so we're kind of going to go along with that style. And you can make up your own cadenza, your own whatever. And there's no real measures or anything in a cadenza necessarily. It's just a bunch of notes. But you're basically going to keep the beat the same. So if you started out 1, 2, 3, you're going to keep that same beat in a cadenza. It's just not going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It could just be a 1, 1, 1, 1. It can be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it doesn't have to be. Some cadenzas don't have measures in them. You just got a bunch of notes. Well, they give you a sample cadenza at the bottom of the page on page 21. It's got measures in it. Okay, that's fine. But the idea is during this cadenza, rather than just holding it, keep going. And freely means whatever you want to do. And for the left hand, you could play something in the left hand too if you want to make up some chords or something. It's up to you. You experiment with it. Block chords, broken chords, Alfred bass, whatever. And just play the cadenza. They give you one at the bottom. And then you take off right with the next note. The F. You just inserted a little cadenza in there is all it is. You don't have to do anything in the left hand if you don't want to. You can if you want to. You don't have to play that cadenza. You can make up your own cadenza, or you can leave it out entirely and just hold that cadenza or the fermata out a little bit and then keep going. So forth. Now on the left hand they have a quarter note. I suggest in this case lift both hands up at the same. Here. So I think that would have been better to be an eighth note with a fermata and then go on. Because written, you're going to hold it down. I suppose you could hold it down too. Lift it up on the E. But I would tend to, because especially if I do a cadenza, I'm going to probably lift them up at the same time. And we can add the dynamics. Well, that's to the right hand. Keep the left hand in the background. Soft, whatever you think soft is. Here. Left hand's very soft. Then on measure 4, you're going to crescendo up to loud. Don't get loud till measure 5. You go loud, you go soft, moderately soft, up to moderately loud, and then loud. Measure 8, you come back down. Don't slow down, just come down. So then you're going to be soft, whether you repeat or not, you're still soft. So measure 9, you're soft. That's the right hand. You're not going to stay soft throughout all this. You can get a little soft, you feel it. Get to know the music well enough where you're comfortable enough with the notes where you can get into it and you can feel it. I tend to and then come down. And then on measure 16, you slow down a little bit. And then you have that, I tend to crescendo there too. And then you have that cadenza if you want it. I'm going to leave it out for the purpose of this video because you can add that in if you want. And then when you're done with the cadenza, keep going again. Decrescendo down to soft like you were at the beginning. And the legato in the left hand, like they said on measure 9, well, after the cadenza, I disregard that. Now I'm playing it the same way I did at the beginning. I'm disconnecting these. So forth. And the last line, you're here. Very loud. And the left hand's you're loud. And accents makes them extremely loud. I don't think you need accents on very loud. Just play it very loud. So forth. Don't slow down. Just very loud. Then speed-wise, allegretto again is a fun speed. It's not fast. I think I've been playing it kind of fast. You can slow it down a bit. And that's the overall feel of the piece. Is allegretto. Don't like it that fast, slow it down a little more. Don't slow it down too much because then it's not allegretto. Think about fun. You get to know it and when it's fun. like to play it with you very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. Not going to do the cadenza. I will do the repeats. I won't do the dynamics. A lot of wills and won'ts in here. Oh, I'm picky. I'll give us 4 counts. Let's try it together very slowly. 1 and 2 and ready and go and. Repeat. Rest. Hold 3 and 4 and. Rest and. 1 and 2 and 3 and rest and.